So good afternoon, students. So we are in our unit number 4, that is disaster risk management in India. I have already told some content will be repeating in what we have seen in all first 3 units. The only thing is what we are doing in India, that's all. Okay, so content and the topic may be similar to what we have read, but how we are handling in India is the unit number 4. Okay, so I think first class we have seen about what are various hazards variability profiles of India. So in our India, which region is prone for which type of disaster and all we have seen, and we have seen various component of disaster relief, like if we have seen for water, food, sanitation, shelter, health, waste management, all that we have seen. Now let us move on to today's discussion on Disaster Management Act and policies. Okay, so country has to put an act and it has to follow some policy. Okay, so we cannot say directly state government or central government, so there is some procedure to be followed. So that is what we are going to see today, and we will see about what is the role of GIS and information technology component in preparedness. So this two topic we will discuss today. So let us start with Disaster Management Act and policies. So in India, this Disaster Management Act policy was implemented in 2005. Okay, so that is what act to provide an effective management of disaster, and for matter connected there is an special parliament has passed in 56th year, okay, of Republic of India, that is Act number 53 of 2005. So it consists of totally of 11 chapters, this act. See, whenever they say act, everything will be in the written document. So if you say act, any act, then corresponding number they will give. So if you search on that particular corresponding number, you will get a PDF where everything will be in written format. Okay, so then only you cannot change, and that is can be made as a policy. So when you want to made as a policy, so you have to put it as an act and write it in paper. So regarding this disaster management, there are totally of 11 chapters. So let us start one by one. So I will tell about what is each and every chapter is. Okay, you at least for exam point of view, this is an important 16 mark question. So they will ask us to explain the act and policy of disaster management in India. So you have to tell that it has totally of 11 chapters. So first chapter is preliminary. The first chapter will tell about in any act. If you take any act, the act first chapter will tell about the title. What about this act? So that is called title. Then extend to who and all comes under this act, that we call it as extent. So all this is common for all type of acts and policies. So in our case, you have to tell about the title, then extend to till what or till what is the limit, that we call it as extent, and then commencement from the which date it has been commenced. Then we will have some definitions. The definitions is nothing but some terms or terminology used in this particular act. Okay, we will see what and all is being defined. Okay, but that all you might have seen already, but which are related to this, we will say it as that all definitions. Okay, so first one is title, short title. The title is nothing but Disaster Management Act, that is the title. Extend, it is extend to whole of India. So this is not for a particular state. When you say Disaster Management Act 2005, it is for the entire India. Okay, then commencement, it shall come in force on such a date as general government may. So it has started from 2005. Okay, so this act has implemented, and now we are working only based on this act, Disaster Management Act 2005. Then definitions, they have defined about, so affected area, that is one word, which means the area where disaster has occurred. So similarly, like capacity building, so capacity building is nothing but amount where you can store the food grains, all that. Then general government, then disaster, what is meant by disaster itself is being explained in the definition. Disaster management, how we are going to manage the disaster. Then district authorities, district plan, local authority, mitigation, national authority, national executive committee, national plan, preparedness, prescribed, reconstruction, resources, state authority, state executive committee, state government and state plan. These are all the terms which is used inside your act, and all that is being explained in the definition. Okay, now let us move on to chapter 2. Okay, National Disaster Management Authority. So that is the title of chapter 2. So chapter 2 will tell about what and all I will explain. Okay, you don't want to explain all that, just write this is more than sufficient. Okay, so or even you cannot remember this also. Say for example, if chapter 2, if you are going to write something from these points, that's all, not all 13, some 3 to 13, at least write 4 or 6 points, try to reproduce it. Okay, so from the heading itself you can write. See, chapter 2 is National Disaster Management Authority. So first is establishment of National Disaster Management Authority was the first thing. Then the meeting of national authority, when and all you are going to put a meeting regarding this, for every year or 5 years once or 6 months once. That and all will be explained in meetings of national authority. And appointment of officers. See, when you say as a government, like this disaster management and all, you will not have a full-fledged person. Any other government employee will be deputed for a particular duration of time. So that is what appointment of officers and other employees of the national authority. Power and function. So what and all national authority has function, powers, which powers are given to national authority will be explained here. The construction of advisory committee by national authority. Then constitution of national executive committees, constitution of subcommittees. So all this will be declared there. So I have just put an heading alone. So under that it will have all that explanation regarding to that. The power and function of national executive. On top we have seen power and function of national authority, that is what in central. Then with respect to executive, like officers, what is their power. Then national plan, for the plan for entire India. So for each and every state, how much you can divide and how much is required for each. See, it is not common for all. Some states are bigger in size, even some states are there which are bigger in size but the population is less. So based upon population, based upon the size, based upon the resources, you have to go for national plan. So that is what all that will be explained in that 11. Then guidelines for minimum standard of relief. Then relief in loan repayment, etc. So if central government is giving loan, how we are going to repay. So all this comes under chapter 2. So next let us move on to chapter 3. Chapter 3 tell about State Disaster Management Authority. So first chapter 2 we have seen about your national wise management authority. Now it is state. So each and every state has to define chapter 3 separately for them. So establishment of State Disaster Management Authority. Then meetings similar to national level. Here also when and all you are going to conduct meeting, that should be explained. Appointment of officers similar to the national authority. Your state government also should appoint officers. Then constitution of advisory committee by the state authority. So who and all will come under advisory is the other government officials who are working in under food department, and then water department and other resource department. So power and function of state. So what state can itself do without from central. Then guidelines for minimum standards for relief. So how we are going to follow the relief strategy, or how we are going to do your process against disaster. Then constitution of state executive committee. The constitution of subcommittee by state executive committee. Function of state executive committee, state plan. Power and function of state executive committee. So similar to national, here also we have seen there is two. One is called state authority, another one is called state executive committee. So both should plan for separately. They should plan for meeting, they should plan for execution, how they are going and what is their powers. Okay, next is district disaster management authority. So when you take a state, entire chief minister as a single person cannot take care of the entire state. So all this we are able to do because we are being ruled by Britishers. I think you all know, in world we are the second corporation which is being established. First one was British, and the second after British, the establishment of corporation was there in India. So they have ruled our country. Similarly, they have made us to be in organized fashion. So that is why everything is being organized. So after national, we move to state. So in state, you have so many districts. Like you say Kanchipuram, Chengalpet district, then Dindigul district, then Kodaikanal comes under. You can even no, Kodaikanal comes under Salem district. Like each and every hill, for example, Yercaud comes under Dindigul. So like that you have split it district wise. So now district has to take care for the management authority. So district has to identify and report it to state. State has to identify and report it to central. So again what you will have is construction of district management authority, then powers of chairperson of district authority, then when and all they are going to conduct meetings. So I think chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4 you can easily write. Only thing is chapter 3 you will write only for, chapter 2 you will write it for national, chapter 3 you will write it for state, chapter 4 you will write it for district. The content remains same. Only thing, wherever there is national you have to put state, where is national you have to put it as district. So constitution of advisory committee and other committees, appointment of officers, see all these are similar. What we have seen in the previous 2 chapters, that is similar here. Okay, power and function of district authority, then district plan, planned by different authorities at state district level and their implementation, requisition by district authorities, power and function of district authority in the event of any threatening disaster situation or disaster. There is difference between threat and disaster. Threat is, see now for past through 2-3 days Chennai you feel like very cloudy, so there is chance for rain. You cannot take it as light or you cannot take it as seriously. So there is something that you have to be in ready, which means it may even rain or it might not rain, but you have to be in prepared condition. So that is called, we call it as threat, and something called as threat and something called disaster. Threatening disaster will not be always a disaster, it is only threatening us. Then comes your chapter number 5, measure by the government for the disaster management. So central government to take measure, responsibility of the ministers and the department government of India, disaster management plan of ministers. So this chapter 5 will tell about what is telling. It is telling about central government to take measure, what and all measures to be taken by the central government, not by state. Okay, there is some issues between 2 states boundary, 2 state issues, that and all should be taken care by the central government, then only the problem can be solved. Okay, disaster management plan of ministers and department of government of India, state government to take measure, responsibility of the department of the state government. So you can see first all this will related with central government and this will related with state government. So that is what chapter number 5. Chapter number 6 is local authorities. So function of local authorities, which is nothing but district level, what and all the roles which you are going to play. So for a disaster, what is the role? Like you have ration shop, you say, there you store all food grains. So you have, for a state, this is your maximum production, in which some percentage has to be kept in reserve. So all that thing is taken care by the function of local authorities. So that is what being explained in chapter number 6. So chapter number 7 is National Institute of Disaster Management. This plays a very major role. Try to understand that. See, no one or a single person cannot go to each and every street and take something and record it. So for this, what you should have is, you should have some simulation softwares, then simulation records, then you have to go and collect the data. Collected data has to be, see, you might have go and collect it for 2011 and you cannot go for 2012, 13 and all. Then what we will do is, with the help of simulation softwares, we will try to predict, okay, what will be in 2016, what will be in 2020. So all this can be done only with the help of this National Institute of Disaster Management. So this chapter tells about how we are going to establish what is the role, what is the thing which is being done by National Institute. So officers and other employees of the National Institute. So to do this work you need employees. All, how much employee you can employ and what is their role, all is being explained in this particular chapter. Okay, so next chapter is about National Disaster Response Force. So similar to police, like you have state government police and central government you call it as army, there is something called reserve force, National Disaster Resource Force. So all this will be nothing but they select a group of people. So for them their training will be given like firefighting, then by fighting against flood. So okay, so they will be given training, so they are trained person. So if any disaster is occurring, they will come and help the civil peoples, okay, civilians, they will help. So for this a separate force is there. So what is the total number of strength it can have, what is the total population of the particular state, for that population what should be the foresee. This is a government job, similar to your police, army and all. This is a government job where you can get placed, and you can see even your physics, you will have a good mental strength and physical strength, and your role only if there is any disaster, otherwise you will be in training. So this is a good job, you can even opt for this also. So national disaster response force. So in this chapter it will be explained about what is the force, about how many people should be taken, where and all you have the training center, where are they located. See, for a state I cannot make them to locate at a single place, because disaster can occur anywhere in the state. So they should be widely spread across the state. So on each and every part and parcel of the state there will be some training, and there will be placed, okay, control and the direction, where they have to move and how they have to move and they have to work. Next about this finance, accounts and audit. Now we have moved from first we started with government, then we moved towards technical team. So now we are moving into management team, which is nothing but finance team. So national disaster response fund. So what should be the fund that is been created for the entire India? So national disaster mitigation fund, response fund, mitigation fund, there is difference. Response fund is after disasters occurring, you are going to response for that, that is called response fund. Mitigation is at the time of disaster. Then establishment of fund by the state government. So what can be the fund that state government should have, then allocation of fund by the ministries and the department, then the emergency procurement and accounting. At the case of emergency, you can go and collect it. So that we all been explained in this particular chapter. Then comes your chapter number 10, punishment for obstruction, punishment for false claim. When you say anything like disaster, then there should be any group of people, they should not spread wrong information regarding this. So everything, if there is only punishment is there, then everybody can be put in control. See, wherever you go, only if there is some restriction, then you will come up in life, okay. See, even if you come to college, the department try to force something on you, all that is not to make you to punish, it is to make you to go in a right direction, okay. See, if there is only some restriction, always, even at home you have some restriction, your father and mother will try to put some restriction, all thing that is only to make you to become a good. So in order to avoid any problem, so that is why similarly we have offense and all the thing being explained in this chapter. So next chapter is chapter number 11, miscellaneous. So other than all 10 chapters will be explained in chapter number 11. So prohibition against, then power to issue direction by the central government, power to be made available for rescue operation, making or emitting rules, power of request of response, then payment of compensation, direction to media for communication of warning, etc., then authentication of order of decision, then declaration of power, then finally comes annual report. Again, this is a major role. Annual report is for every year you have to give your annual report, what and all disaster has occurred, what is the preventive measure you have taken, then what is the measure you have taken during your disaster, then how you have done, what is the amount required, what was the amount received from the central government, and what was the amount which you have spent, what is the amount which you have at a balance. So all this should be given in a written document. So that is called as annual report. So that is what the annual report should contain is being explained in chapter number 11. Okay, chapter 11, if you go and see, it will clearly explain about what and all should be there in a annual report, okay. Then bar of jurisdiction of court, act to have overriding effect, action taken in good faith, immunity for legal process, power of central government to make rules, power to make regulation, rules and regulation to be laid before parliament, power of state government to make rules, power to remove difficulties. See, we all say that all thing is been written as a document, but there should need some upgradation. So upgradation can be done both by including as well as removing some rules, and something will vary for each and every state. We cannot constantly say a single rule for all the states. So okay, so based upon the geographical condition of that particular state, something will vary. See, there are some states where temperature will be always less than 25 degree, 20 degree, even it touches 10, or even sometimes it touches minus. Whereas there are some state where only one climate, hottest. So in that case there are some difficulties. Okay, difficulties. So based upon that you have to slightly change. So all that thing been explained in this miscellaneous. Okay, so with this, that first part of the today's discussion is over. So our first part of the discussion, what we have seen today is your Act 2005 regarding disaster management. So it is a sure 16 mark question, and it is very easy also. Just you have to remember the subheading of the chapter name alone. Okay, and that is also not so difficult, you can remember. So it is a 60 expected question. So what is it? It is about 7 chapter 11 chapter explaining about what is the act which is been passed in 2005. Okay, next let us move on to GIS, Geographic Information System. So what is required is, first one is you require a map. Then map, which is nothing but going to explain about a particular place. So that particular place has to be done analysis. So analysis is where you have water, where you have land, where you have hill, where you have house, where and all you have vegetation. All that comes under analysis. Data. So in this analysis you might have done water. See, I will go a little bit so that you can understand. So GIS is nothing but Geographic Information System. So see, now you can take it as in India, and India, if you come to Tamil Nadu, so in Tamil Nadu, each and every particular point, you say Pallikarnai, you say Velacheri, you say Madipakam. If you take this 3 region, or you let us take 3 region like Velacheri, and somewhere like Adambakam or Alandur, or somewhere like Madipakam, do you think these 3 places are unique? Answer is not sure that it is not unique, because Alandur and Adambakam are lightly above the sea level compared to Velacheri and Madipakam. Okay, whereas Madipakam, it is little bit lower compared to Velacheri. So what happens is, if flood is coming, you cannot say blindly, you cannot say all the region will be affected to the same extent. St. Thomas Mount and Alandur might not be get affected itself, because water will not stagnate there and water will flow to Velacheri. And even some water will flow through Madipakam also, and Madipakam may get more water. All this is because they are not equally in above sea level. They are not at equal height from sea level. So now you need some analysis. So that is what secondly we are doing. So first you are going to select a region. In that region you are going to analyze. Now I have analyzed only with respect to surface from sea level. Okay, that is one set of data, that's all. Other data are like, what is the road map, what is the water line connection you are given, then what is the resource, like water resource available, then what about any vegetation, if you are doing agriculture, what is that case. So analysis will be done for each and everything, and you will get a set of data. So based upon this data only, every disaster management work is being carried out. Okay, so see, if some disaster is occurring, I can go and help the people only by knowing this data. Without this data I cannot do nothing. So that is the main importance. Okay, then to do this you need software. Okay, software is required to do analyzing as well as getting the data. Analyze you have to do, from the analysis I will get the data. Then that this is being done by using a software. Then only by software I cannot get it, so I should have some sensors to get the data. The sensors are nothing but satellites. So from satellite I will get the information. That information is being used by the software. to do analysis and get the data. Are you able to understand how I am interlinking? See, satellites are sensors, softwares use the data from the satellite, they try to do analysis and they try to get the data. Then you are predicting. So there comes human. You will try to correlate the data and try to visualize what will be the condition if something is going wrong. Okay. Then nowadays we have app. So all this data can be given to app and to the end user can use it. So this is about GIS. So this is the present way by which each and every country try to do regarding handling your disaster. Okay. So similar way here I have shown you in diagram in little bit clear fashion. So first is, for let us assume you have taken a place called Pallikarnai. So if you have taken place for Pallikarnai, you have to draw the map for roadways. Okay. So this is like a bridge. You can see here I have drawn street. Some street are on the floor level and some street is on little bit higher from floor level, which is nothing but it is indicating here it is a flyover. Okay, it is a flyover. Here they say it is a sharp turning. So here it is say it is rectangular in shape, all this thing, and this is a single data. Okay, this is single data where this data is about only road or street, whatever you call. Then what, for that same region you have to see where and all buildings are placed. Okay, now the place remain constant. Please remember this is a Pallikarnai. All this are about Pallikarnai, but there is some difference here. Only regarding street is been there. Now in this street where and all you have houses that you do separately, because in disaster management I need this. So how this people can be made to escape with the help of this road to come out. Okay, that is what the end result is. Where is factory located? How the people from the factory can be evacuated if something is going wrong inside the factory. How to evacuate the people from their house when something is going on. To evacuate this I should need road. From the road only I can see how I can divert the people. See, if something is happening here, there should be 2 or 3 ways by way I have to make them to escape. So to make them escape, at that time I cannot go and see where is the road, where is the connecting hospital and all. So that will be pre-calculated. Then vegetation data for the same place, is there any vegetation is there, any agriculture land is there, marshland is there. See, when we take Pallikarnai, there is some marshland, there is some like pond, all such thing. So that will come under vegetation. Then comes integrated. So everything is put together. So once everything is put together, it will show the entire details. But usually this common people cannot understand. So we will try to draw each and everything as a separate layer. So if you might have seen Corel Draw or Adobe Photoshop and all, you know this. There each and everything can be done separate layer. So after each and every separate layer you draw, you can overlap it and form as a single image. Okay. So what is the role of GIS? That is what we are going to see. So it is like India is vulnerable to natural and man-made disaster. All disaster are spittle in nature. SAS technique act as a decision support tool. This you have to underline. Okay. So what is the role of GSI is, it is for decision support tool. At the time of disaster is occurring, then how to get rid of it, or how to supply to the people, or what is the alternate route. For example, as flood has occurred, it has spoiled some part of the roads, then what is the alternate route to supply food materials to the people who get affected. So that is being provided by this GIS. So that is why we call it as a decision support tool. Okay. Then decision making can be possible by analysis of different GIS layer. This is what I have told. You have different layers. With a different layer we try to do this. Currently socio-economic and geospatial data is useful for management and planning of disaster as well as tackling of disaster condition. This is what I have told. When you want try to tackle, you should have a knowledge of entire geographical of that particular region. Okay. GIS is useful for hazard zone mapping, and during emergency condition mitigation of people can be easily possible using this maps. So to move the people from that particular region, this GIS plays a major role. So GIS technology is much useful in modeling of disaster risk. So even we can model and we can give a demonstration like if disaster is occurring, how the disaster will happen and how it will get damaged and how you are going to get rid of that particular damage. All that you can do a simulation and you can predict. See, if this is the condition, what about the Pallikarnai situation after 5 years? If now this is the population, this is the level, what will be in after 5 years? If the same disaster is occurring after 5 years, what will be the condition? How we are going to protect the people? So all that thing can be done with GIS. So GIS is not only current situation, you can even do model and analysis and predict 5 or 10 years after. Okay. So disaster management is done by the following step. First step is planning and analysis, then situational awareness, then data management and field operation. So these are the role. So first of all, I have to plan and do all the type of analysis. Then situational awareness. Once if I have planned it and I have done analysis, then I can come to a conclusion where and all I can keep what type of signboards and all. So that signboards and all we call it as situational awareness. Then data management is, that is what I told. Now the condition of Pallikarnai, what is the condition of Pallikarnai growing rate, then what will be the state at which if something happened after 5 or 10 years. So that is called as data management. And field operation is going and getting all the informations. Okay. So something can be done from satellite information and something has to be done only by person being employed for getting the data. Then in comes in planning, GIS is most complete information system for modeling, analyzing spiritual data and displaying community viability. When we identify hazard location with critical infrastructure, proceed GIS model can be useful to determine the event impact and necessary mitigation, preparedness in the important of disaster event occur, on analysis of risk cascade in beneficial in emergency management program. Then situational awareness, that is what I have told. Disaster and emergency management situation, GIS technique plays a vital role providing local information of event. Okay, that is where this event happened and what is happening exactly in real time. Also linking people, process and GIS map interface important in handling emergency condition. That is what I have told as signboards. So we will keep all the signboards so that will be helpful. Data management is the achievement of the preparedness, gathering of information and its advanced data storing important. GIS integration of information from the source. GIS solution is a standard based accurate method for getting the information. Then comes field operation. Field data is very important. So field team captures information and send back to the user. So good information useful for recognition actual event condition. So only if you get correct information, for example, how many people are there, you are not supposed to put 10 houses is there, 10 into 4 40, like that you are not supposed to do. You have to go, field work is very important because field work plays a major role. So you should not go for assumptions and all in case of field operation, so that may leads to some backfire. So the thing is, you have to properly do your field operation. So field operation plays a major role. The new data can be sent for operation teams in field. So you get some information from satellites that can be given to the field team. Okay, like I think you can understand from the satellite itself nowadays I can draw the route map. Okay, so route map can be given directly to the field operation people so that they can go and get the information whether it response or recovery phase. Field operation team work is very important. Then important objective of GIS database generation is disaster management from different states, cities, village using GIS data for disaster planning. So once you do this, it can be collectively put for a state and even put for a country. Preparedness and planning of disaster will be easy because once you have planned what is the each and every district level, state level, if you have properly done your field work with the GIS, then preparedness become easy. Then you can easily forecast also. Forecast is nothing but telling about mere future. Okay, so forecasting, you can even give early warning. See, for example, you are going to have some flood, only if you know about the total population, then you can give the warning correctly. For relief management, that is what I told. If something is happening, how we are going to do the relief work. Then GIS database with various themes is useful to disaster managers in decision making process when an event is occurring. Okay, so there are some officials, for them the data will be provided and they will come to a conclusion what should be done. Use of different state satellite images. Satellite images, I think you all know, now what is the condition. So I can even read a car number plate, that car is moving in Mount Road. Okay, to that level satellites has been placed. That satellite we call it as geostationary satellites. So from that satellites I can even hello சரிங்க சார், நான் ஒரு 10 மினிட்ஸில் கால் பண்ணுறேன் சார், நான் கிளாஸில் இருக்கேன். So next is use of different satellite images. So now condition is we have placed so many geostationary satellites. So all the geostationary satellites, at each and every location 3 to 4 satellites is pointing, so gathering the information, so I can get the entire spot. So quick bird spot from GSM data creations, preparation of base map of different themes using satellite images. Then with the satellite even I can measure water level, temperature, then what type of land it is, all that thing I can measure from the satellite itself. Okay, so that is what they say. Micro level maps used for identifying, then identification of safe location and zones of rehabilitation. So from the satellite itself I can say which and all comes under safe location, because from satellite itself I can read what is the height of that particular place from the sea level, whether it is low lying area or high lying area. So from there itself I can identify safe locations. And if you can even identify in state like Tamil Nadu where disaster will be minimum, and that zones you can declare it as safe zones. Then road and location map used to finding alternate routes. So with the help of this satellite and all, alternate routes can be identified, that you can even see with your Google map. I think you have a Google map at your mobile. So for unknown place, if you try to start from your home, Google will say the route. In that, if you see, it will say currently there is some issue in that particular road, you try to take some other road. So how it is being done, that is being done because of the satellite image. Okay, so Google get the images from satellite, even it will say that region is crowded, so some different in color, like dark red it will show there, say that is being crowd, it may take 5 more minutes extra to reach, all that information it will say. So that is with respect to road and location map used for finding alternate routes, shelters and locations. Then planning of evacuation, management of rehabilitation, suitable location identifying, no construction area identifies, that means where you are not supposed to do. Then hospitals and medical facility identification for injured people. See, if some accident is occurring in Pallikarnai highway main road, then automatically when you use this satellite method, it has to show that nearby you have an hospital called Kamachi. Okay, it should not point to somewhere like global. Okay, so that is being done with the help of GIS. So automatically you will get the information. So hospital, medical facility identification for the injured people and all. Then GIS solution for different hazard. When you take earthquake, GIS can be useful for monitoring the historical sites of earthquake, also to the response and data management for recovery. So previous data, so GIS will tell about where and all earthquake has occurred and where and all what has happened in the previous history, because something we go in future and something we go in past. So like earthquake, you should have some past record, so it is useful for impact assessment. Okay, when you see flood mapping for macro level to micro level, flood zone mapping, where and all there is chance for flood. See, all engineering college nowadays are being built in only lake. So this flood map will clearly say that all low lying areas. So when there is flood occur, you can be clear where and all you should not go. So detecting potential sites of flood in reference with rainfall. So this is what I told. Then evaluation mapping. So where and all you can make the people to reside. Then preparing a response map in response to the image after flood situation. So after flood situation also I will get the data and I will store it. So this is with respect to today's session. So this is what today we have seen. So if you have any